those varied 7 different board roles have given me a good exposure and a good insight. Then Alcatel has decided to make me the CEO of the joint venture company with CDAT.
Hello everyone, welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, a podcast series by World Development Corporation. I'm Sunny Pancholi, uncovering some great achievements and contributions of unsung heroes, inspiring others. Today we have Mr. Krishnamurthy Bhamidipati V.S. on our podcast, sharing his rich experience as a director and EXFO. Welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, Mr. Krishnamurthy, and I'm looking forward to an insightful conversation with you.
Thank you very much, Sunny, and thanks for the opportunity. I am also equally excited to share my experience and to share my views. And good to see you and good to be with you.
All right. So, Mr. Krishnamurthy, your professional accomplishments are various and you have an incredible 37 years of career journey. So, could you elaborate and share your journey along with your boardroom experience with us?
Okay. Thank you very much for your nice words. So I have completed my BTech in Electronics and Communication from Jawaharlal Nehru Technological University in 1987. And I immediately joined Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, which is the very Navaratna defense public sector in Hyderabad. And I had 10 years of experience and very rich experience contributing to the defense and then learning all my ropes and my first technical skills. I also used my during that period to acquire 2 more additional post-graduation degrees. So I have completed both my MTech in computer science and MBA in operations while working in HAL. And thereafter, I always had a view also to expand my horizon and to gain experience with the varied people. So after 10 years in HAL, working in the defense aircraft industry, I moved to Alcatel in Chennai. And Alcatel is a global telecom MNC at that time. And now it got merged into the Nokia. But at that time, it was a 23 billion euro worldwide company there. So I joined it in 1997. And there, I could grow myself because I was one of the first employee to join when an Alcatel set up their R&D center in Chennai. So within about maybe 4 years, so by 2000, I have become the Chief Operating Officer for the Alcatel R&D. And in another 4 years, by 2007, I have become its Managing Director. And then I was inducted into its board. And that was my first board experience starting from 2007. From that onwards, from 2007 onwards until now, I have served on the boards of 7 different companies. Currently, I'm on the board of 2 legal entities because for the last 11 years in Pune, I'm working as a managing director for EXFO, EXFO India Private Limited. Our global MNC is a Canada headquartered EXFO Incorporation. So EXFO is a telecom test, service assurance, monitoring, and the AI solution for all the telecom solutions and to the service assurance. So it was set up by our chairman, General Limited in 1985. So we have 39 years experience as a company. Almost our customers are there in about 120 countries. And our operations are there throughout the world. And more than 95% of all the premium, the top tier telecom service providers are our customers. So from the board, from the previous one, I also had then an opportunity to be from the CEO and also onto the board of a joint venture between a private MNC and the public sector for a varied experience. And that is CDOT Alcatel-Lucent joint venture because I was the CEO of that company before joining EXFO. And that experience is a very, very, very enlightening because our chairman was Madhav Nambiar, who is an ex-aviation secretary, and he used to teach me and then tell me how the high-level government union decisions are being taken. So like that, I mean, it is going from one company to then another company, and those varied 7 different board roles have given me a good exposure and a good insight on what is the required of the board of the directors, and then how we can make a value addition to the boardrooms. So that was my experience, a brief journey about my professional journey and my boardroom experience.
That was really interesting. Further, in terms of your achievements, you have held various CXO roles. Certainly, this can't be luck factor only. You must have made many pursuits in reaching up to this stature. So, however, we would like to know some important factors behind this.
Okay. Yeah, definitely it cannot be just the luck alone, but starting from in the very beginning, I mean, if I have to recall, what are some of the lessons I've learned, or some people whom I look to it as a part of the inspiration and motivation, I have to mention about 3-4 people there. And even at my very early, I mean, when I was even a small child, I very well remember, I mean, I grew up with my grandfather. My grandfather, he's retired as a teacher, but after the retirement, he took up 2 activities. One as a yoga teacher, and the second one also to harvest the bees. I mean, the honeys from the bees. And he was distributing the honey locally in his town. And I once asked him, I mean, because he is a maths teacher, but after he retired, he took up this yoga and this honey harvesting. So why are you doing this? I mean, if you teach maths tuitions, it becomes much easier. And then he told me, we have to distinguish ourselves. I mean, there will be maths teachers, but in those times where there is nothing is there like internet and social media. So the yoga teachers or someone who's harvesting the honey, that will be very small. And so he wants to pursue those things where I would say he can show his uniqueness. And that is my first lesson. The world is a very wide competition, and wherever you are working, it doesn't matter. We have to have that, okay, what is the unique value we are bringing to the organization? That is the lesson I learned from him. And then over my journey there, especially both in Alcatel-Lucent, and then the CDOT, and also in my current company, I mean, there are various people. Like, for example, if I had to choose some, one of the first managing director when I was working in an Alcatel is an Etienne Vermeulen, and then I learned from him how to take tough and very tough decisions, not being emotional, what is the right for the company. And then the next managing director, that was Subhash Bana. I mean, I have a very great regard for him. I learned from him how to be humble, how to be polite, and how to be compassionate, and how to show empathy. These are 2 extremes of the one. But I think the good part is we should be aware which one to apply in which context. And I learned both from them. And then when I was the CEO of the Cork Alcatel-Lucent joint venture, I was the CEO, but the board chairman is ex-aviation secretary, Mr. Madhavan Nambiyar. And he used to tell me several stories at the national level, at the secretary level, how the important decisions, how the debate, and then how do they take the decisions that will impact the future of the nation. And that is also very inspiring, because somehow we think government as a bureaucracy and private companies as a very efficient, but it is from him I learned that how we have to be, I mean, whatever is the job, whatever is the responsibility, however big it is, how we can show our passion, engagement, and the responsibility. And finally, even during the last years in my current company, I report to the CTO of EXFO, Gabriel Dufour, and I learned from him that whatever we decide, how to look strategically to a medium to the long term, because that's what impacts and gives the driving performance for the company, not for the short term there. Remember, short term, we have to be operational, but our strategic and innovation focus have to be medium to the long term. So all these people have played a very good role from whom I take the inspiration and to the motivation. And that is what I was lucky to have this exposure and then experience for my experience to grow my career. And you are referring that, okay, apart from the luck, of course, it is not only the luck. I mean, what are the other things? If I have to talk about the key skills which I have, or rather, I strive to develop is number one, continuous learning. And that's where in my first job after my completed of the graduation, I have acquired two professional qualifications, both the MTech and then MBA. And it did not stop there because I'm a voracious reader, and both in the subjects, both the technical, non-technical, there is a immense things we have to learn, and knowledge is a continuous. So be proficient and be the passionate about learning what is happening, the new technologies, new trends. So that I spend enough time on that. The other one, which I consider important is for the professional growth, is the strategic thinking, which I have already referred to it. That is, do not think about only the next few months or to the weeks or even to the quarters, but how the decisions, the bigger picture of the organization to the customers, the end use customers, so how they can impact. The strategic thinking is also in a very important thing. Then, of course, the leadership and the framework, I mean, that is the basic core of the one. But beyond the leadership and teamwork, I also want to mention two things. One is the resilience, because no professional journey, no success will be an easy cake. There will be always setbacks. There will be some challenges. And sometimes we may fail, but we should be resilient to that. I mean, we should be able to stand up and then again walk again and to the run again. So that positive mindset to face the adversaries and withstand them and to move forward is an important. And lastly, I would like to also mention the flexibility. I mean, what is the flexibility? Flexibility to meet the requirements and needs of the organization. Because the person, I mean, we may have several ambitions and then aspirations, but when we show the bigger picture for the organization needs, either taking up any role or taking up a new responsibility or taking up other the challenging things, anything, when we show the flexibility to organization, then the organization will show their commitment and their appreciation to us. And one example I would like to also quote for this is when I was an MD of the Alcatel unit there. So our unit had got merged into the corporate because there were two different legal units. So I was an MD of one unit and they got merged into the one unit. So naturally, I had to come out of my managing director role of the company. And when I had to come out, I did not got disappointed it, and I worked with the same passionate. Of course, I was no longer MD, I was only the director, but I was contributing all my might. And within 4 months, then Alcatel has decided to make me the CEO of their joint venture company with the CDAT. So I mean, that's the flexibility. I mean, if somebody thinks, okay, I was doing it in an MD and then that post is not there. No, I mean, that is the requirement, and that we have to show our flexibility, we have to show the resilience, and then organizations will respond back. So these are the things which I say I have learned it in my professional journey.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Mr. Krishnamurthy, your journey is very motivating and your leadership skills are really outstanding. All right. So in your career, you have managed large teams of 1,400 engineers across 3 locations, overseeing R&D. Apart from leadership skills, there has to be much more under the surface, namely commitment, dedication, etc. So what is it that makes you such an outstanding leader?
Okay, again, thank you for the nice words. So I don't know whether I'm an outstanding leader or not, but I would say I would more a practical and a committed person there, because the leadership had to be decided by my organization and by my employees there. So yes, I was leading up to the 1,400 because that was in my previous role for an Alcatel. In the Chennai, because where we have grown up to 1,400 engineers in the 3 locations now, and that was from a very small team to the 1,400 in a short span of about 3 years, and that was a great journey. Now, how that is, I mean, beyond the leadership, that is so of course the commitment and the dedication and to the detail, because these things won't happen just like that. Okay, you hire or to the build, no. So we have to plan systematically and meticulously follow to the details, and we have to be committed and we have to be dedicated to the organization purpose. And once we have the people and then people are joining, the most important thing, again, I learned and I mentioned it, is the empathy. Meaning, we have to understand, I mean, not every policy, not every rules are equally applicable to all the employees. So how do we ensure to make it that maybe some employees or some teams have a specific requirement or a specific situation? So how do we match their requirement within an organizational framework? So it is always what I look at it like there is an empathy and being humble and being very open for the employee needs, because without that it is difficult to hire and to retain to the talent. And other important thing is also when it comes to the R&D teams, especially, I mean, for the all R&D projects, it's not always straightforward. And sometimes we need to take up the projects and the challenges where the outcome is not immediately maybe visible there. So, and some projects may fail. And that's why it is important also to have the mindset, fail safe and fail fast, meaning execute very quickly a proof of concept, check whether the things are working or not working, or maybe in the journey of the project, together with the teams, encourage the people to take the decisions. And if it is not a right decision, no matter, we learn and we quickly adapt in an agile way, and then we move forward it. And when it comes especially to the employees, the empowerment is also very important. So trust them, give them the empowerment, and make sure that yes, okay, if they succeed, give them the credit, and if there is a failure, learn together with them and then move forward. So these are the things that makes it to grow to the large teams and the large distributed teams. And I was happy that, okay, we have a very highly talented teams, and that allowed us to grow both in my previous company and to the current company in EXFO.
Absolutely, absolutely, Mr. Krishnamurthy. Our viewers must be thrilled by the inputs you have shared and must be waiting to learn more from some of your tried and tested methods. So what would you like to say to them?
Okay, so I mean, I would like to say it like this. I mean, more in a professional context, for a leadership, I mean, is especially if you are referring to a board role, I mean, a boardroom role for the people who want to take it up. The one of the key important thing is they need to have in their organization or wherever they are expected to be a good reputation and the trust. And now how the trust and the reputation will come, they will not come over a night or over a month. And that means they need to have the sufficient hard work, and they need to have the attention to detail, and they need to have the loyalty and the flexibility to their organization. All these things will add up to their professional growth and further opportunities. But more at a ground level, if somebody had to focus on that one, I would quote like this. So first one is focused innovation, because remember, there will always be any organization, a huge competition. So how do we distinguish ourselves? So focused innovation, what it means is, it is not just the hard work, but whatever we want to innovate, whatever we are contributing, what is the value addition to the end use customers? I mean, not even just an organization, because if the end customers can see a value, then of course organization will see the value and it increases. And by using this measure of end user value creation, many I would say not so valuable things and an unnecessary effort we can avoid. So focused innovation for the long-term sustainability, I consider as a very key thing. Then leading with empathy, I have already mentioned it. I mean, being humble, being empathetic to the employees. Continuous learning is also one more thing. I mentioned it there, that is already. And the other one I would say, especially when somebody wants to grow to the higher CXO roles, the strategic delegation, because if we are doing all the job ourselves, then we will not have the time to make a value addition. And we need to understand that. So the more we delegate to our team and then mentor them, the more we are actually helping ourselves to grow in the organization, and that needs to be understood. And the resilience and the flexibility I have already explained. Now, I would also like to add, I mean, these are all looks maybe like a theory, but there is one thing which I believe I've learned from my journey. And I would like to put a tip or maybe an advice like this. Many times we face in life, both either personal or the professional, the challenges that we have two paths in front of us. Now, which path to take it? I mean, we don't know the future, and do we take A or the B? And then we'll be doing a lot of thinking for that. Now, what I would like to advise is like, or at least I will not advise, is what I have done, and which has helped me is like this. If the alternatives are very clear, the results we can expect it, and then of course we make a deep analysis and we take the right decision. But most of the cases, that details will not be available, and we have to make our choice. And how do I make my choice when between the two alternatives? I do it like this: whichever alternative is more difficult, takes more time, looks more uncertain, requires much higher effort, that alternative is what I take it, because that's where when we put a hard work, we can succeed more. If the option is an easier option, of course, maybe we may not have, our life may be easier, but that will not take us far. So this is what I learned, that take a difficult choice when you don't know the outcomes, and it is most likely we will succeed. And my last one, what I also learned, when you have two options, our progress doesn't depend, and our achievement doesn't depend on which option we have taken. It is, I believe, irrespective of the option we have taken, how meticulously, engagedly, passionately worked on that option, irrespective of the option, that gives us a success. So these are my two things which I followed, and hopefully others may find it interesting.
Sounds incredible, Mr. Krishnamurthy. And thanks for sharing the learnings you have collected over 3.5 decades. Along with corporate governance, ESG is another inseparable aspect of modern boardrooms. And since you are upskilling yourself in it now, so what values do you wish to add to directorship roles?
Yes. So ESG is, I mean, during the last 3-4 years, it is gaining a lot of traction. And in fact, I mean, the beginning, I mean, if you see 4 years, 5 years back, ESG is a environment, social, and governance is considered more like a part of like a CSR or more like a marketing one. But of late, it has become a very significant and then impacting in the importance right up to the boardroom. So first and foremost, ESG is no longer a simple regulatory pressure, because maybe government will have a certain expectations and we have to fulfill those compliance. It is no longer that, because now ESG is a stakeholder demand. I mean, our employees, our vendors, our customers, all these people, all these ones, the stakeholders have become increasingly aware, and they're demanding what the company is doing towards the ESG. Even we even currently as we speak, some of our largest customers there, they're asking, okay, please share your ESG journey and your ESG targets. And if we want to win those high value stakes, the contracts, and we have to be very conscious, and that we have realized many years back, and we have a very systematic approach to the ESG, and that is also what driven me to take up the additional qualification under to the ESG. And more importantly, it has another two factors, because ESG is also for the risk management, meaning if we are not conscious that whatever we are doing, whatever we are developing, our operations, they are very friendly to the environment, to the people, to the surroundings, it can pose additional risks, because everyone is becoming conscious. And if there is any, what I would say, not any untoward incidents towards the environment, they can become a very, I mean, they can blow up out of the proportion. So in other words, it's not just as a to be good to the environment, it is a question of the companies also is very much the continuity. And lastly, not to forget it, I don't consider that ESG even just not as a compliance or to the society. It is also an opportunity for the innovation and growth opportunities, because as a part of the ESG, we have to consider like on how, I mean, various factors, and from those factors there, then how we can optimize, how a new opportunities can arise. So in other words, a ESG journey can also open up the innovation and then other growth markets and then other marketing uniqueness of the USPs, the unique the selling points for our market. So that's why ESG is not just a regulatory necessity, but also a strategic advantage that aligns with the modern business practices and stakeholder expectations. So it's a very key aspect in my view.
Rightly said, Mr. Krishnamurthy. And your insights into ESG can prove invaluable to someone seeking a role in this field. And all right, since we're talking about ESG and you have chosen Directors Institute as your knowledge partner on ESG, as well as corporate governance. So what has been your experience with us so far?
Okay. My experience with the Directors Institute is number one, it's a very, and all of you are a very professional organization, meaning you know what you are saying, what you are talking, you know the topics and the subject and the domain very well, and the organization is quite detailed and to the professional with the various different roles and responsibilities there. And it is actually, I mean, I consider working with you or the learning with your team onto the ESG and is a very enjoyable learning experience. So it's a good, and you also have the professional. I mean, what I also would like to add is you make right use of the technology, because that's where we have to be we have to be open and we have to be conscious of that. So in other words, you bring not just only the knowledge and then expertise part, but then how to deliver and then how to mix that your expertise with the latest state of the art the technology. And I think that is what is making associating with you and learning from you is an enjoyable experience. So I value very much Directors Institute.
Thank you so much. And I'm elated to have uncovered such important aspects of your career journey. Definitely your accomplishments so far and the aims ahead can be a benchmark for professionals regardless of their backgrounds. Mr. Krishnamurthy, we wish you all the best for all the future endeavors of yours. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be with you and to share my experience.
Thank you and have a nice day.
Same to you. Bye.